Hello there. This is Return of the Nerd back again, and I've been having some brain farts and some real farts. Queenie,
it's not me.
It's not you. It usually is.
No.
So I've been thinking about the grading system for adult action figures, and we have an authority. We have the AFA, and there's another one called the CAS. So you got your action figure, like grading. There's like a body of people. I've never done this before, by the way. I mean, like for example, if I had, this is my old Vader from when I was a kid with the vinyl cape, and kept him inside this bubble here. He's loose. Let's say I had one that was carded and it was in really good condition and I wanted to get a score. I would send it off to AFA, and I'd have to pay them. It would take probably, I don't know, 6 months, and then I'd get it back and I'd get like an acrylic case and everything and a score. I think that's a pretty cool, unique idea, and I'm actually interested in who came up with that concept in the first place. And my brain fart today was, shouldn't we have another authority or another group of people that kind of do the same thing, but only for brand new releases? So let's say, and it could apply to any, and it has to be an adult collector's line, okay? So we know that this is vintage, all right, because these were meant for kids, so that's different. So nowadays, things have changed, all right? Adults buy these, they're very expensive. Yes, kids still can pick them up. It's very unusual that they do. Parents will often try to encourage their kids to collect or play with action figures, but that's the parents' choice, This was not my parents' choice. When I was a kid, this was my toy, and they better buy it for me or I'm gonna hold my breath. So it's not the same thing. I was thinking like getting a group of people together and having them, you start like every time a new action figure comes out, it could be NECA, it could be McFarlane, it could be Hasbro, it doesn't matter. It's a new release and it's a new character. It's nothing, something we haven't seen before, and you would get your sample, and it's like being in a laboratory. You would dissect it, you would inspect it, and you'd have a checklist of like things that you'd have to tick off. And the hard part is like, okay, how do you score this figure objectively? Because people always have different views and opinions, which is what we have right now on social media, because every other collector has a YouTube channel and an Instagram account, right? So people enjoy to express their likes and dislikes about figures, and this is something that's been going on for a while, but that's really a subjective thing, right? So a figure that I like, perhaps let's say the Axe Woves, right, from The Mandalorian. He was in season 2 and season 3. Now, I really like this figure, but there are other people that don't like it. They say that the helmet is like a really odd shape. It's too big for his head, etc. And so like consistency is really important, and it kind of reminds me of Gordon Ramsay and the restaurant industry. You have the Michelin Star, and it's awarded to your restaurant because you've earned it. All right, you've done a good job, and you followed all the criteria, and you've earned this. But it can be taken away as well, right? So if you now, I'm sorry, but you haven't met the guidelines, and you're due to the lack in quality control, we're taking your stars away from you. I don't know. It's just something based on that concept would be good. But again, the challenges are like, how do you get a group of experts together in the first place, right? Because it's like, well, who are you to who do you think you are to take on this responsibility, right? Like how your knowledge of the Force, your knowledge of action figures has to be pretty freaking in depth, right? And then how many people would you have on that group? How would you vote? Because there needs to be some kind of consensus there as to whether or not this is a good figure, how good it is, or how bad it is. And if none of them can, because the problem is with action figure collectors is like people often just really disagree so much on what they like and what they don't like. But so you'd need to come up with some really objective criteria, which is hard in itself. And then you'd have to apply that, which means, you know, relationship skills, people getting along with each other. That's hard. But I just feel it will be something that will be cool to do, and it's necessary. And it would also put pressure on companies. For example, Hasbro, if you had a website or if you had an organization that ended up making money, you know, and every time you get a new character come out, so say for example this, when I say new character, I mean like this would be a really great example, because the modal nodes, Nail and Chill, had, you know, previous to the Black Series, had never been released as an adult collectible, never. And this is the first time it's been presented to us in 6-inch form. And the accessories in here, this is the deluxe, so you'd have different categories, I suppose. This will be a great one to, you know, to critique. Or this one here, you've got Doc Ondo. We've never had this species before as an adult action figure in the 6 inches. Hammerhead, you know, you could, this would be good. If it's something that's already come out, then there's no need, right? So anything that's a repack, anything that's like carbonized, anything that's just been repainted, you lose points. You know, you get minus. That's how the system works. So, and it would have to be, yeah, I think it will be tough to put something like that together. It will take a while, but it might be in the best interests of the adult, you know, collecting community. I've got some other examples here, like for example, you know, Cad Bane is from the Book of Boba Fett, which is a brand new show, right? Just came out last year, and this is the first appearance of him in this like as this character. We've had Cad Bane before from the Clone Wars, obviously, but this is a brand new, you know, character. So this would be good. I think it'd only work with new stuff, not with old stuff, because again, you've got, if you want to get your action figures graded, I think that's one thing, you know. And what I'm talking about here is not grading action figures. It's not a grading. It's not. The concept is not to grade the action figure. The concept is to let the manufacturers, to let the toy companies know whether or not the action figure community deem your new release as being acceptable, as being like, you know, is it quality, what's the standard, or is it subpar? And it's some way of like giving the adult consumers a little bit of power. Do you understand? A bit like you know, you have like those watchdog organizations, consumer protection agencies and things like that. It will kind of work in that similar function. Yeah, it's just some brain fart I've been having recently, but purely like just for action figures. I was reading on Wikipedia here. I think it's Wikipedia. No, it's not Wikipedia, but yes, it is. And it's talking about how the AFA was first introduced, and it talks about transformers and acrylic cases, and it's interesting, you know, because like for a toy to be, not a toy, sorry, for an action figure to be a good action figure, we're not talking about number of sales. We're not talking about is it Boba Fett? Everyone loves Boba Fett. We're not talking about the popularity of the character in the media. We're not, you know, so it's got nothing to do with that. It's to do with the design process of the figure and how it's come out, like the articulation, the paintwork, just there are so many boxes that you can tick, right? You could probably come up with, I don't know, about 10. If you had too many, it would get complicated, but you could come up with like 10 quite easily. Or like, and also not just the action figure itself, you could, obviously the package as well, how it's presented and marketed, the actual, like the card back and the image on the card back. All of those things could be taken into account when you're judging and scoring and critiquing. So it's got nothing to do with, oh, this was the best-selling figure of 2023. But then you could argue, well, it wasn't a good figure. It wasn't a good figure. People just bought it because they were in love with the show, and that was the only figure available of that character. So of course, everybody wanted it. Doesn't mean it's a good action figure. All right, so that's what I'm talking about. So if you guys, does this have any, like, I'm just bouncing ideas. I'm trying to bounce ideas off the wall here and trigger like some conversation with you guys. Like, can you give me your brain farts? All right. What does that sound like? A good concept, or am I just talking out of my butthole? Yeah, I'm just brainstorming. That's all I'm doing, and because it just feels like a lot of the action figures we get are based on, like, it's a character and it's popular, but is the product, the thing that you buy, is it good? Is it what it's supposed to be? It's supposed to be an action figure. Does that make sense? Queenie, do you understand what I'm talking about?
Not really.
Is that because you're stupid, or you just don't understand English? Or both? I'm just kidding. I'm always picking on Queenie. I'm such a bully. Yeah, one of my, well, not one, but a lot of the people who follow my channel and buy from me have said, Gary, could you please do some unboxing and some comparison videos? Yes, I will start doing them again, because recently I started going crazy with pre-orders and selling G.I. Joe, so I haven't had any time to do anything else but just sell. So now, yes, there are a couple of videos that I would like to make. I like doing comparison videos where you get like a TVC Black Series 6 inches and you compare the two of them, or maybe there's an old retro or vintage one and then you compare those. Not just a straightforward, this is you know, like, this is brand new but I'm not comparing it to anything. Do you see what I mean? I have a slightly different way of doing my videos than other YouTubers, and it's like, I'm not knocking other YouTubers. I think that when they do their unboxings and their reviews, I think they're really useful, but every YouTuber has their own subjective viewpoint. So you know, I will listen to like maybe 4 or 5 different points of view on a figure, and then I will buy it, and then I'll make up my own mind. But at the end of the day, it would be nice if there was some kind of universally agreed upon objective criteria that actually says, yeah, this is a really good figure, or no, this is a pile of shit. That would be good. So what do you guys think? You can just put your brain farts in the comment section. And yeah, the next video I do will be me with my spinny table doing some posing and doing some comparisons. I think it's going to be Tusken Raiders, the new 4-pack, and I'm going to compare that to like my old Tusken Raiders from a long time ago, and my Bantha, and also the Black Series Tusken Raider as well. I've got one of those too, so that'll be a fun video to make. Okay guys, don't forget to subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Look what I've just found, another one. It's G.I. Joe, and it's Japanese. The name is Ranger. I'm pretty sure that is he Ranger? Because the last one I showed everyone was Mercenary, and they're like, that's not Mercenary! His name is Captain Blood or something, and I'm like, oh, okay then, I'm wrong. But again, this is like super old, 1986, made in Hong Kong, and it's a Japanese card back. I'm gonna have to. Oh, I've almost finished updating the blog spot. Okay, probably the rest of today. Today is, what are we on? Is it Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
I've lost track of time. Today's Tuesday, and it's the afternoon. And then before I go to bed tonight, the blog site will be all finished. Finito. Okay. All right. See you guys later. Bye bye.